Hi everyone and welcome back to the kitchen. I'm Jo Michaels, the baking author, and this is my channel. Today we're going to be making corn cookies. Now I developed this recipe for a book that I wrote with a couple of my friends, Tia Silverthorne-Bach and Kelly Risser, and we write under the pen name TJ Kelly. And the company that we invented in the book is called Nana's Nummies. So I have my coffee in here today. I'm going to be sipping on that while we're going. But I also came up with the corn cookie recipe. If you've ever had a raspberry thumbprint cookie, it's similar, but this one has corn jelly instead of raspberry jelly. So corn jelly, I also came up with the recipe for. I'm going to be giving away 6 jars of this as shares and tags and things like that. All of the instructions for doing that are down below in the video description. You don't get the recipe for this, but you will get the recipe for the cookies. Now, in order to get the recipe for this, you have to buy the book. It's called Recipe for Redemption. It's on Amazon, and I'll link it in the description of the video. Otherwise, enter to win it, because it's so much easier than making it, right? Okay, here we go. Corn cookies. You're going to need 4 cups of all-purpose flour, a cup of granulated sugar, half a cup of corn syrup, an egg, a teaspoon of salt, 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract, which I have right here, a half a cup of unsalted butter softened. I've just been having mine out on the counter for a while, a half a cup of Crisco, and corn jelly. So here we go. We're going to dump it all in our mixer and get to going. I have to preheat my oven to 350 degrees, and we're doing the larger cookies, so 350. I'll be right back. I'm back. There were many mishaps along the way as I developed this recipe. We had flat cookies, we had gross cookies, we had all cookies in between, but we finally hit upon the perfect ever recipe. So I did bust my butt in this kitchen quite a bit during that period. Alright, so in a sturdy stand mixer, we're going to blend the sugar, butter, Crisco, vanilla, salt, corn syrup, and egg. Let's start with my egg, just in case I drop shell pieces in there, which I do frequently. I have to dig them out. I usually don't even crack the egg over the bowl because I'm really bad about it. Okay, 1 egg. Crisco. I have a 1/4 cup measuring cup here, so I'm going to do it twice. And if you do the Crisco before you do the corn syrup, it actually comes out a lot easier. I think that napkin's probably had it. I use this to grease my bowls when I'm making bread, so I keep a paper towel in there. Super handy dandy. Alright, just going to smash this in here. I neglected to get from my mom's kitchen after she passed. She had this really cool measuring cup that you would just press the plunger and it would pop out anything that was in there. And it was for measuring things like Crisco. I don't know where it went, but I did not get it. Should have, but didn't. And we're just going to cream all this together because it makes it easier to get the flour in there and get it to incorporate if all the wet stuff is already mixed. Ugh. As you can see, I'm just filling up my cup and then just running my spatula over top to flatten it out. So I have a nice smooth 1/4 cup. This adds some moisture to your cookies, keeps them a little bit on the wet side, and that egg is for the same reason, just adds some moisture. Man, that's loud when I accidentally ding it on the side of that bowl, isn't it? Oh, I hate digging Crisco out of anything. Such a pain in the butt, sticks to everything. Okay, that's gonna have to be good. Now I need a half a cup of corn syrup. I use light corn syrup. You can use dark, but it will change the flavor and consistency of the cookie. They're going to be a little more molassesy. So there's a 1/4 cup. I tried to keep my measurements pretty much the same. 1½ teaspoons, 1 teaspoon. I don't like to wash dishes, so I tend to do as much with 1 cup as I can. Kind of like I'm doing right now. It looks like I had exactly a ½ cup left. Not that I make these a lot or anything. Believe me, I do. I make these as often as I have the corn to make them. Of course, corn's about to go out of season, so if you're eager to make these, get on it. If you're going to start from scratch. We also developed, or I also developed, a corn cloud cookie, and it has cornmeal in it, and it's actually really good. It's a softer cookie, kind of fluffy. So it does not require corn jelly, but it does require corn chutney, which I include the recipe for in the book. And later on, when we do Izzy's story, she's one of the characters, I also have a great jalapeno hush puppy just for Izzy because she's a little spicy. I like her a lot. Okay, now for the vanilla. Oh wait, I want to start with the salt because I'm going to use the same measuring spoon. Okay, 1 teaspoon of coarse salt. Salt just makes things a little bit sweeter. And then 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract. Again, I don't usually measure over the bowl because I spill a lot of things. And to spill in there is very bad. I just dribbled it all over the counter too. I'm kind of a mess, so it is what it is. It's still early, still drinking my coffee as you can see, and we will get there. Okay, butter. Let me drink coffee while this is creaming together. Oh, I also have to put the sugar in. Ow, I'm getting ahead of myself. I just really want that coffee, that's what it is. Okay, butter in, whole stick. Yum. I love butter. Eating things, oh, what's that flavor? It's butter. And then I gotta do a cup of sugar. These cookies are not super sweet. I find that I can eat a good number of them. Of course, I'm the original cookie monster, so there you go. I don't like things that are too sweet. It's just sweet enough. And I love raspberry thumbprint cookies. They're probably one of my favorite cookies ever. I realize they're on a shortbread, and this is almost a shortbread, but not quite. Okay, there's a cup of sugar. Just gonna dump that in there. Get my spatula out of there. My sugar doesn't want to come out. Okay. Get my spatula out. Now we're going to pause every now and then to scrape down the sides of this bowl too. I'm just going to put that on my buttered paper. Lock it in place. Close my sugar just in case and turn it on low. Now our flour we're going to add slowly, and we're going to mix this until well mixed. I also have my baking sheets already covered with my silicone mats. I think you're really going to like, once we get into this, how I do this, so it's a lot of fun. I'm just going to pop that speed up a little bit, let that really mix together super well, because I don't want any like chunks of butter in my cookies here. Coffee. Perfect complement to cookies. Now I'm just going to turn that off and lift it and throw my flour in. So here we go. First cup going into the bowl. A lot of people want you to refrigerate your cookie dough, but that's okay. You can refrigerate this if you want to. It doesn't really help it at all. I just dumped about half the cup in there, not the whole thing. I don't want flour going all over my kitchen. And I'll just turn it off and add the rest of that cup and turn it back on. And while that's mixing, I'm going to measure out my second cup. It does take 4 full cups of all-purpose flour. That's not a guesstimation or an estimate. It takes 4 cups. Just turn it off. Put about half in there. Turn it back on. I'm going to scrape my bowl down after I add this second half. And kind of get it going. Your flour's going to want to jump out of your bowl, but that's okay. You'll probably lose maybe a 32nd of a teaspoon. I still have corn syrup all over my spatula here. Now we're just going to take a minute, turn it off, and just scrape the bowl down to get any of that flour that jumped up the sides to mix in with the cookie dough. Fun times. I can smell this now, and it smells amazing. So just for another second, going to measure out another cup of flour. This is number 3, if y'all counting. 3 cups. Put about half of that into my bowl. Turn it on low. I like to turn it off because then the flour doesn't get caked up on top of my mixing paddle. I hope you could all see that it was a paddle attachment that I had on my KitchenAid here. And then I'm going to put that second half of that 3rd cup in there. Turn it on low. It's not jumping out at me too bad today. Thank goodness. Now you can hear my mixer starting to struggle. This is a pretty thick cookie dough, so be prepared. You're going to, whoops, drop that in there. You're going to roll it out by hand, so be prepared for that. And my knife is trying to go too. Let me dig that spoon out real quick, because I'm done with those. I'm done with this. Now I'm going to turn it off, lift it up. Look how pretty that is. Golden yellow. Looks a bit like corn. No, not really. But the cloud cookie dough is a very super wet dough. So when you go to scoop that out, boy, I'm going to tell you what, you know it. It's all over your hands, all over the mixer. But those cookies are so good. Very moist. Alright, putting half of this in here. Then I'm going to have to lock it, put it on low. If I don't turn this up soon, my mixer is going to be very angry with me. So I'm going to do that in just a second after I get this in here and get it kind of moving around. See, just with half a cup, it's already not tacky. So last half cup just brings it all together. Oh, get in there, you. Oh, dump it on the counter. That was nice. Whatever. Okay. It's just like 1/8 of a teaspoon. Now that's really starting to struggle, so I'm going to crank it up just a little bit so it gets nice and mixed together. Then I'm going to take it out, scrape the bottoms and the side, and put it back on for just a minute. See, that's so pretty. Nice and thick cookie dough. And it's still a little chilly. My butter's not super melted, but it's creamed really prettily with that sugar. And you don't have to refrigerate this dough. We're going straight from the mixer to the pan to the oven. Ugh, it's very thick. I'm just scraping off the bottom of my bowl and scraping down the sides of the bowl so it can all mix together. It smells so good. This is kind of a scraping paddle. If you just have the metal paddle, that's fine too. It's not going to make a difference. Just a minute. And then scrape it off your paddle again into your bowl. As you can see, it's not sticky at all. And it actually holds together really well at this point. So here we go. Okay, moving all this stuff out of the way. Put my vanilla back in the box so I don't get it mixed up with other things. And just clean off my counter. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I have my cookie dough here. You should be able to just pick it up with your hands. It should look like this. If you can see, it comes out pretty smooth in balls. So let's see. Have that there. We're going to do 1-inch balls, and then I will show you how to get them on the pan. But first I'm going to open my corn jelly. If I can. Yes, I can. These scissors have a nifty tool on the back here. It's just a can opener. So I'm just going to pop that up. That smells delicious. I'm going to grab my 1/2 teaspoon measuring spoon. You'll see why in just a second. Just gathering the cookie dough to the bottom of this bowl so I can reach in and snag a 1-inch ball. Now we're guesstimating. You don't have to be perfect. Cookies are about fun and yumminess. They're not about perfection, okay? You do you. And these are the larger cookies, so the smaller ones cook at a higher temperature for a shorter amount of time. So you just kind of roll it in your palms and then kind of flatten it like that. And you put it right on your baking tray. I'm going to roll these out before I get my corn jelly in them, so I will be back once I'm done. Okay, all my cookies are on my baking sheet. They look like this. Now you're going to take your thumb and you're just going to make a little well by pressing in 2 directions on top of each cookie. You do not need to flour your hands. Your dough should not be at all sticky at all. You're just making a well in the middle. Make sure it all has good sides on it. You don't want your corn jelly to run out the side of your cookies. These will spread just a little bit, but not a lot. So I just used the guides on my silicone mat to give me an eyeball of approximately where they need to go and how big they need to be. Again, they're not all even. I don't care. I'm going to eat some yummy cookies. Size only matters. Never mind. Not going to say it. This is a kid-friendly show. Sort of. I don't know, if you're letting your kids watch this, I have to wonder about you maybe. Because you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. Now I'm just making a well. Tapping things around. I love these big cookies like this too. They're so delicious. Get a nice big mouthful of cookie. It's amazing. Alright, they look like this. They have little indentations in the middle. Now I'm going to take the measuring spoon that I used earlier and grab a little of that jelly and just plop it into the middle of each cookie. Does it have to be exactly a half teaspoon? Nope. For the littler ones, I use about 1/8 of a teaspoon. But what you don't want is it to run off the cookie and onto the tray, because, yikes, that it gets super hot. See, it melts in the oven and then it re-solidifies. So as you're taking these out of the oven, also be extremely careful, please. Do not get this on you. It will burn the ever-loving crap out of you. Not that I know that from personal experience or anything. Just kind of fill that little well up. That's really your goal here. Fill the well up with the cookie jam, or the corn jam. Corn jelly, not really jam. I'm not sure how corn jam would taste. Sounds like it would be a little gross. You can't buy these in any store. You can only make them. And this, you can only make this. Okay, we're going to the oven for 15 minutes. One pan at a time. Do not put 2 of these in your oven. You will have unbaked, uneven, really weird looking cookies. While these are baking, I'm going to make the next ones that will be ready to go in. I think this makes about 3 dozen, so 1 dozen, 2 dozen, and then we'll trade this out, put these on a cooling rack, 3 dozen. All right, they should look a little bit like this. Popping these in the oven, and I'll be back with you guys when the 3rd batch comes out of the oven. Okay, bye for now. Hey you guys, I'm back. 2nd batch of cookies has come out of the oven. The tops are like molten lava jelly, so I'm gonna be very careful whenever I remove them from here to my cooling rack, but you have to get them off while they're still warm. We're gonna try that. Every now and then it bursts and I end up with really hot molten corn jelly all over me. That's the bad part of baking, I think. It's the burn hazards. Also canning. I don't know who decided that boiling water needed to go over jars and things, but I made you guys some jars of corn jelly. I was canning with my mom one time, picked up the jar, turned it to pour the boiling water out of it, all over my hand. Of course it went all over my hand. Of course it did. Because if there is peril, it will find me. Klutz with a capital K. Okay, I noticed you're probably going to notice one cookie is missing. That wasn't me. Okay, that was me. I did eat it, yes. I did. I couldn't help myself. Used almost the whole jar of corn jelly, but don't worry, this stuff is great on biscuits. It's great on toast. It's just great right out of the jar. So, I'll put that over there. Okay, your cookies, these are cool, should look like this. They should have that nice jelly in the middle, and the bottom should be really brown. And when you bite into them or break them, they're crunchy. And they're so good. Here's a side shot. You can see that thin layer of jelly on there. They're going to come out in all different shapes. Who cares? They're still good. Still edible. 100%. Now as these cool, this jelly will solidify more. You can see it there. It's already developing a skin on top. And then it will solidify back to a gelatinous state. And when we break them in half, it'll probably pull completely apart. One jelly, all jelly on one side. So these will store up to 2 weeks in an airtight container. They will lose some of their crunch after the 2nd day, but that's just what you're going to have to deal with. And I kind of thought it goes without saying, but some of you guys, some of you people in the world ain't too bright, or they wouldn't have those warnings on hair dryers not to dry your hair while you're still in the bathtub. Don't eat these while they're hot. They will scald the ever-loving out of your mouth. Okay? That molten jelly on top, it's really hot. It's about 300 degrees. So don't do it. Don't do it. I know how tempting they look, but just wait 15 minutes or so, okay? These are so delicious, you guys. If you give them a try, Let me know in the comments how you like them, if you made any changes to them. Please don't. But if you like sprinkled them with cinnamon or something like that. Okay, there is cinnamon flavor in the jelly already. Okay, I guess that's about it for today. I'm gonna go finish up this cookie. Please give this video a huge thumbs up if you liked it. If you are already a subscriber, thank you, I love you, and I'll see you next week. If you're not, what are you waiting for? The button's like right there, right there, right there. I don't know, it's down there somewhere, or it's up here. Check out the book that I wrote with Tia and Kelly. We wrote under the pen name T.J. Kelly, so if you see Recipe for Redemption, you'll recognize the corn cookies on the cover. I did that myself too. And I hope you enjoy everything. Have a great day. I'll see you guys next time.